research is still going on. Okay, let me start the presentation with Hare Krishna. Just hold on. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnana Janasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Prana Mami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So that today's topic is characteristics of the self-realized person. So anyone understands what is self-realization? Can anyone will be able to explain it? Like what is self-realization? Any of the devotees, please?
Understanding our relationship with the Supreme Lord.
Okay. Anything else?
Self-realization is that we have to understand that we got this body to meet the Lord. Final destination is Lord and nothing else.
Okay. So the trouble of asking this question, what is self-realization and what are the characteristics of self-realization, has been taken over by Arjuna himself, and he's asking Krishna in 2.54. Arjuna uvacha sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadhi kim prabhasheta kim ashita vrajete kim. Arjuna is asking, what are the... So Arjuna is asking Krishna, what are the symptoms of those who are conscious is merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? He is asking all the questions. What are the characteristics basically of man in transcendence? Here, the self-realization has been given various synonyms in Bhagavad Gita as like Sthita Dhir Muni, which we'll be discussing later. And a man of transcendence, man of full knowledge and man of self-realization Brahma Bhuta stage Brahma Stuti stage So a lot many names have been given and we will be coming one by one. So when Arjuna has asked what are the symptoms and what are the characteristics and how does he speak, here comes Krishna's answers. Krishna is telling, Dukeshva anuvigna manaha, Sukeshu vigadaspruha, Vitaraga bhaya krodaha, Sitadir munir uchyate. He is telling that one who is not disturbed in spite of threefold miseries. who is not elated when there is happiness or getting distressed because of some unhappiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. When we are talking about my Muni or Yogi here, can have unsteady mind also. We will come to that later. But here, Siddha Dhir Muni is of importance because one who is able to control his mind only is called a Siddha Muni. And by the way, can anyone tell me what are the types of people Prabhupada normally says? Can anyone please? The 4 types of people that Prabhupada keeps quoting. Any of the devotees, please? Well, the 4 types of devotees are karmis, jnanis, yogis, and bhaktas. When Siddhir Muni comes, it's only bhaktas. Because karmis are fruity workers. And jnanis, why should I work? And why should I bother? So they get into the birth, death, disease, old age, etc. This jnanis, and then they try to understand why such birth is taking place. And so they are into mental concoction and philosophical research. Jnanis, yogis, and yogis try to acquire some mystic power. Like you might have seen in that nectar of devotion that people try to acquire some siddhi, like trying to become smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, like Anima, Mahima, Lagima, and all, Prajapati, or something like that. So they are the yogis. They try to attain some yogic power and try to do some magic and try to extract money from the people. So they are yogis. Bhaktas, they doesn't want anything. They doesn't want anything for themselves. And then they want to serve God out of pure love, just as a mother serves a child. So the Siddhar Muni comes under this category. And then this is last class also we were talking about the threefold miseries. And here the very first one he's telling is that one who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries. Threefold miseries, in fact, if they are attacking the devotees also, still he is able to contain them and try to understand that whatever has been sent is by the grace of the God. So he gets undisturbed by threefold miseries and then happiness and distress. He is not getting elated just because something a very happy occasion occurs, or doesn't get distressed because something bad happens. And there is always a detachment from attachment and fear and distress. 2.56 says that in the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. This is being said at 2.57. And one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as a tortoise withdraws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So these are all the synonyms. If you see, perfect knowledge, perfect consciousness. So all are synonyms for a self-realized person. So a tortoise analogy has been given to tortoise, which his capability is to, in order to, as and when it requires, it will be able to distract itself from the senses and contacts its body under the shell, it seems. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. When I am taking fixed in consciousness, again, he becomes a self-realized person. So another thing is that another characteristic is that one person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires. A human being is having a lot of incessant flow of desires, like the water gushing through the rivers from the starting point of the river, and then they gets connected into the ocean. So the ocean is ever getting filled through the rivers by water, but always it is still. So such a person who is still in mind in activities can only attain peace and not the man who tries to satisfy such desires. This is again another characteristics of a self-realized person. Another self-realized person is that here in 5.18, Bhagavan says that the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, who is an outcast. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva swapake cha pandita samadarshinaha. Here in 5.18, they are talking about the living or moving items, like a cow, brahmana, elephant, dog, a dog eater, etc., etc. Whereas in 14.22, the same thing is talked about regarding matter or non-moving items, like one who sees with equal post eye or equal vision, a lump of earth, a stone, a piece of gold or diamond with an equal eye. He is also is said to be considered in pure knowledge and having attained transcendence. इहैव तैर्जितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समां ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थितः. Here, those who are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, as they are already situated in Brahman. This is another characteristic of a self-realization, equanimity of mind, because Lord is flawless. And just because we are and is without any attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. So indirectly, it's telling you that when he is flawless, he is capital, the Supreme Personality Godhead. As then when we do devotional service unto him and we get attracted towards him, we also, we the human beings or the lesser mortal, also become flawless. And that's which is a sign of self-realization. न प्रक्षृहत् प्रियं प्राप्य न द्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरिर्बुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. Here, one who doesn't get elated just because he is achieving something pleasant, nor laments just because he is getting something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, unwavered, who knows the signs of God. Like we are discussing about the other day, like Guhyatamam, Guhyatara, having understood the signs of God, is understood to be already situated in transcendence. Steadiness of mind is called Sthira Buddhi. By Prabhupada is terming this as the mind control, is Sthira Buddhi or self-intelligence. And then Bhagya Sparsho Ashaktatma Vindati Atmani Shukam Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma Shukam Akshayam Asnute. Here, a person who is in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste or material sense pleasure together. Because though one will be able to distance himself from the sense objects and sense gratification, still the sense perception and the attraction for the senses still remain. But the moment you start getting into the Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service, such a man will not be attracted to the various tastes. That is what 5.21 says, which is again another characteristic of a self-realized person. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure or external objects, but it is always in trance. Trance means steadiness in mind, enjoying the pleasure within. This way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. That yonta shukontar aramas tatantar jyotiryevayah sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuta digachati. Here, one whose happiness is within, who is active within, who rejoices within and is illumined within, is actually the perfect mystic or a perfect yogi. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So basically, here self-realization is already taken place, and it is one is able to understand that I am not the body, I am only the soul, and there is a concept of or something called super soul, and which we are all part and parcel or fragmental pieces of the whole, the God. And such a when we come to know all those things, and once we start enjoying with it ourselves, and seeing everything with equalize and equanimity, he becomes a liberated person. He does not long for any external material happiness. This state of mind is or system is called Brahma Bhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back to God home. This is what is being told. And those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the supreme, in the very near future. 5.26 says about this. Here, another thing is that when, where, I will just come to that, but before that, there is something called what do you call the fish normally gets its offspring simply by looking at them. It lays its eggs and then keeps on seeing them, and it is able to bring its offspring. A tortoise, it goes and lays its eggs onto the land, comes back to the water, keeps on concentrating on the the eggs, and it is able to bring its offspring. On the same lines, a devotee in Krishna consciousness, he is very, very far away from the Lord's abode. Thinking of him constantly by engagement in Krishna consciousness, he does not feel the pangs of material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme. And today, Lakshmi Mataji also has put a Namanishta Prabhu's small video, wherein such a concept has again been talked by Namanishta Prabhuji. And analogy is that when an iron rod is getting heated up, you keep on heating it up, and then it becomes red hot. And now you cannot make out whether it is iron or fire. It behaves like a fire. Whenever anything gets contact with that fire, it burns it out. So similarly, once when somebody is in Krishna consciousness, and when he or she becomes closer and closer towards Krishna, so all these material pangs or miseries will not be felt by the concerned devotee. In this stage, from material mental activities by another way of mind control is by practice of yoga. Yoga is basically stillness of mind. This has been taught by the yoga guru also, Patanjali guru. And then this has been brought out by Bhagavad Gita also by Lord Krishna. And here, by doing the sadhana, Siddhi Shakti or internal potency, one can involve that. One will be able to see if it is telling here that eightfold yoga system, what we are talking about, yamas, external discipline, which we call it as regulative principles, niyama, internal disciplines, what we should eat and what we should not eat, asana, the posture, how we get into the meditation seats and trance for that, pranayama, breath control, and how we meditate upon the Lord, the pratyahara, withdrawal of senses, and then dharana, concentration on the Lord, and dhyana, meditative absorption. And because of all these things, one is able to attain samadhi or integration with the God. When we call integration, getting into the abode of the Lord. So this is in the normal world also. Sages have told us a concept called Purushartha. Purushartha means basically 4 categories are there, which is called Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. You earn money for your economic upliftment, for your survival by dharmic means. And then Artha is nothing but money. You make money using Dharma, and then Kama. And then try to do sense gratification to the extent you get your offsprings, Krishna conscious people, and then try to attain moksha. So there is only in this very life. So we have been born, millions and millions of births have already been taken place, and at least we are able to get a human life, which is very crucial, and we are able to get into learn the scriptures, learn from our gurus, and what is right and what is not right. So at least in this life, we'll be able to attain the moksha. So that is Purushartha. And Bhagavad Gita is also talking about Purushartha, the eightfold path, and ultimately the devotional service, which we'll be seeing later. And then in 9.13, 9th chapter is basically the most confidential knowledge. Here also, he's telling one who is not deluded. and the great souls are under the protection of divine nature. The moment you are not deluded, you are out of sense gratification, you start living with detachment, with attachment, you become under the protection of divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know God, they know Krishna, a supreme personality of God, original and inexhaustible. Always chanting his glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before him. These great souls perpetually worship him with devotion. He himself is saying in 9.13 and 9.4, what is what? And once people who have this characteristics, they are also considered to be self-realized persons. Mam cha yo vyabhichareena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samadityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, it does not fall down at any circumstance. At once transcends to the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. The moment he comes to the level of Brahman, easily he can climb up and get back to the Godhead. So Bhakti Yoga means the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is taking place. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality God and the individual person. Otherwise, there is no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. That's what Prabhupada says in his purport for 14.26. Hare Krishna. And then in this verse, Sarva Bhuteshu Yenekam Bhavam Avyayam Ikshate Avibhaktim Vibhakteshu Tajnanam Viddhi Satvikam. In this verse, the symptoms of the self-realized person are given. What will be the symptoms? The very first symptom that is not illusion by the false identification of the body. He is able to identify the body and the soul separately here. He knows perfectly well we are all fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's not joyful in achieving something. There's a repetition. If somebody may feel it's repetition, but it's a symptom. What we were talking about the characteristics, and now we are talking about the symptoms, which has also been spelled out by the Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in this verse. So neither happy because he achieves something, nor he laments because he's losing something related to his body. This steadiness of mind is sthira buddhi. And then the second slide or third slide we're talking about sthira muni also. One who is having a strong mind, mind control or self-intelligence. He is never bewildered and he is this particular knowledge elevates him to the station of knowing the complete science of the absolute truth, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He thus is able to understand his constitutional position perfectly here. So without which he will not be able to go back to Godhead. And this particular Brahman realization or self-realization is called Krishna consciousness. Now people may have some doubt, what is symptoms and what is characteristics? Can anyone? Any of the devotees, please? Am I audible? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu, you are audible.
Yes, Prabhuji, you are
The symptoms and the characteristics. Anyone?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
can you ask the question again?
Nee, what is the difference between the symptoms and the characteristics?
Of what, Prabhu?
Of anything. See, we were talking in the previous slides about the characteristics of a self-realized person. How we will walk, how we will look like, what is his behavior, what are the qualities of him. Now here the symptoms are the self-realized person we talked about. Now one will have a question in their mind, what are the symptoms and what are characteristics? That's why I'm just asking.
Prabhuji, symptoms are like he is sama dukkha sukha, like he is equipoised whether it is happiness or sadness or it is good or bad or whatever comes to him, he is equipoised. He is in the same state. So the characteristic would be that he remains unaffected whether it is sorrow or joy or there is no display of happiness or anger in him.
Well, basically, the symptoms in a layman's language is that when say a patient is started having a small headache, or some running nostrils, or giddiness, or something like that. These are all the symptoms being felt by the patient himself. And if it aggravates, he goes to an expert called a doctor, and then tells him that all these symptoms are available. And then he characterizes that particular symptoms into a disease. So whatever you, Mataji said was absolutely correct. So they are equipoised, and then symptoms are nothing but feelings or sensations a person has. Whereas signs are observable characteristics. So observable characteristics that he will not feel happy or sad. He will be equiposed. He will be in his own self. He'll be able to enjoy within himself. He will not try to enjoy the outside world or the material pleasures. He doesn't get bothered for all those things. Well, when one is free from the material conception of love, he becomes peaceful and cannot be agitated. So here in 18.51 to 5153, Bhagwan Krishna condenses what are the characteristics of self-realization. Here he is condensing around 18 characteristics. I just want to read that also. See, whatever we discussed, everything has been condensed. See, he is purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, that is withdrawn from the senses, being freed from attachment and hatred. He lives in secluded place, who eats little and who controls the body and the tongue, and is always in trance and is detached, who is without false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and who does not accept material things. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. Here, Krishna himself defines what is self-realization, and by which we are able to understand what are the characteristics of the self-realization. Brahma bhuta prasannatma sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhutteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. One who is just transcendently situated is able to realize the supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity, and he, in this state, he attends pure devotional service unto the Lord God. This also has been brought out in 18.54. Basically, whatever we saw is a small summarization, but there's going to be a repetition of all these things. When we say, because idea is, so one who is not disturbed by the threefold miseries, undisturbed by both happiness and distress, free from attachment, fear, anger, right? Sense detachment, so free from distress, detachment from attachment, having a detachment from attachment, unaffected by good or evil. And here a lot of discussions have taken place regarding detachment from attachment. And idea is that one should do the karma. Okay, without karma, nobody can be able to take care of the body also. We got to take care of the dress. The soul is there, no doubt about it. But we got to take care of the dress, the body. So for that, so we got to do our karma. Whatever has been assigned to have, only thing is one should not look for the fruits of the karma. Or the fruits of the karma got to be given unto the Lord. So that is what it may detachment from attachment, unaffected by good or evil that occurs to him. Complete withdrawal of senses from sense objects, and then not agitated by the incessant flow of desires. Sees super soul in everything around him. Well, we brought out that Brahmana, seeing Brahmana, cow, elephant, dog, and dog eater alike. Equanimity of mind, lump of earth, stone, gold, everything looks the same for that particular person. And then steadiness of mind, sthira buddhi or self-intelligence, engages in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness. And this, the moment he does it, he loses all taste for material pleasure. Absolute controller of mind, engages in full devotional service, and he is free from all miseries. And here, when I was going through this thematic study, then I was just trying to understand why only these verses have been provided. In fact, the verses have been drawn from 50% of the chapters, right? There are some 9 chapters from where these verses have been taken. And that, but it is not exactly to be taken for analytical study, because if you see here in 18 point, only one sloka has been given. Whereas 18.51 and 53 describes the characteristic of self-realized person. It's all condensed, and it is telling Krishna himself is telling they are the characteristics, or this is a person who is having all these characteristics can be considered self-realized person. So this is a rough estimate of whatever has been given. And this is again, I am put it here because this has been condensed again, this 18.51 to 513 here. See, one who does not accept material things, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So the characteristics of self-realization has been completely brought out in 18.5153. And when somebody asks, in fact, with one slide, this presentation can be concluded. These are all the characteristics of a self-realized person. And can anyone tell what exactly this picture represents? This particular portion of it?
Lady is
Thinking
doing
about Krishna even while working.
Oh, this is basically this gentleman is doing his karma and he is thinking of Krishna, and basically they are, and she is doing puja and doing devotional service. Basically, they have devoted the fruits of their karma or action unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Whereas these people, they are working. They are all fruity workers or karmis. They are all thinking about the money which they will get. Again, these are all people. And such people are, you can make out from the very pictures that they are all tense and sad and whereas Krishna devotee is joyful, ever joyful. In fact, a analogy also has been created, like the seasons keep changing from spring, autumn to spring, spring to autumn, or summer to winter and winter to summer. People should be joyous, irrespective of whether gets happiness or distress. And a Krishna conscious devotee is always happy. This, in fact, when I was trying to understand this characteristic of self-realization, I went through the illustrative Bhagavad Gita also. Again, published by ISKCON. It's a very good book. You can give this small book to your kids so that such type of lot many drawings, sketches are available in the illustrious Bhagavad Gita. And I have taken from Veda base, Vani quotes, Hare Krishna movement, sense of self-realization, glorious Gita. And I tried, in fact, I was trying to delay my presentation to the extent possible so that I'll be able to go through this book, The Science of Self-Realization by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But somehow I could complete only 50% of it. But time is running out and there's a pressure to complete the course. Anyway, so the next 50% I'll be able to do it later. So this is Bhagavad Gita, which I was talking about, a stated introduction. Okay. So here again, the yogi sees everything and he is not disturbed by the pangs of material nature. Hare Krishna. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can ask. I think I did not take much time. Around 18 minutes, I believe. No, 18 minutes, 35. Okay. Around 48 minutes. Every living entity, especially persons in the human race, must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. It has been brought out in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 3rd Canto, 19, chapter 36, sloka. And perfect stage of self-realization is attained not by artificial means, but under the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always transcendental. Again brought out in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.33. Hare Krishna. Yes, Sri Hari Priya Mataji, you have some questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very beautifully and exhaustively explained all the qualities and characteristics of a self-realized person. Congratulations for a wonderful presentation. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, I have one question. That is a pure devotee always self-realized, because their qualities and characteristics or symptoms which you mentioned are too many. So suppose at initial all the 3 levels of devotees, the Kanishta or a Madhyama or the Uttama. When we do devotional service, is it like automatically we will become a self-realized person, and all the qualities will come to us? Or a pure devotee who starts devotional service is a self-realized person automatically?
No, as and when one grows from Kanishta Adhikari to Madhyama Adhikari and Uttama Adhikari, then only the self-realization comes. Even Krishna says such self-realized person are very, very scarce to find it out. Because one here, a person got to be, you got to have a equanimity. You got to see the happiness and distress of the same mind. You should not feel bad when something bad happens. But it's not possible for human beings. Because anything bad happens in any of our families, we get really upset. But we are not supposed to. So same way, suppose I get a promotion, so I should not get elated, But if the job requires for it, entails for it, so you got to have, or you got to use those powers. Unless otherwise you got to go in for that ego satisfaction, it will not be. So yes, self-realization takes place slowly, as an like as it was dealt. Na? You got a dharma, then so you got after that all those things got to be cleared, and slowly one will be able to become a Siradhir Muni. So you'll be able to have a complete distraction from the senses and sense gratification, and you will become really a self-realized person. Or a
So
Brahma.
what I can conclude is there is like we have all procedure, follow 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally you reach your destination. Is it some specified way to become a self-realized person?
Yes, yes. See, when we were in that class 18-day courses, we were just told, you just do one japmala sufficient. No problem. Please do only one round. After that, my gurus and teachers were telling, why don't you go to level 2 classes? Then they say around 4 or 8 rounds, 6 rounds, at least you should do it. And then you should get up. Then these regulative principles, like that. Then third level, you got to further increase it. Then fourth level, then further you got to increase it. And then you got to get up very early in the morning. Previously, it was told that, okay, no problem. Anytime you can do japa. And nahana hai kya, nahane ke pehle karna hai kya, no problem, you do it. But now it has been told that you got to take a bath and then only you got to do it. And then you got to have a specified time for doing it. It's not that when you are driving, you do japa, or you are eating, or you are cooking, you do japa. All those things will, okay, you are thinking of God, but at the same time, it is not a complete surrender. So under service, you completely think, because it is said that the Nama and the God are one and the same. So you are, in fact, you are talking to him. When you are doing japa, you are really talking to him. So you got to have the particular frequency so that you'll be able to reach him. So it is a step-by-step evolution. Slowly, we'll be able to attain that one.
Okay.
Like of late, I still have though intoxication, many intoxication I had. Of later, I still am trying to leave my tea and coffee. I'm still consuming. So one should slowly leave all those things, and then we'll be able to reach the stage.
Okay,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Manashvi
Thank you
Mataji.
so
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, your presentation was very nice, Prabhuji, and you gave every reference of the shlokas in the pictures was so nice that Prabhuji, it was so nice it was very clear also, and I could understand very well about the self-realized person, and you gave the reference and also thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very nice
I just want
presentation.
to just close this by this small verse because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance
Diksha
is coming
Shatam.
very fast. I think 5th March, I believe, right? I just want to conclude my presentation with this. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagat isha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishwari, Bhavatad bhakti rahituki tvayi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You can make me the host. Maybe you're the host now. Okay. Yes, your presentation was wonderful, Prabhu. With all the nice, what you tell, um, articles and everything, whatever you have collected. It was very sufficient and very nice presentation. And I think so you have answered also very quickly and very short and sweet. That was also very good. And just you have to work out on the time basis. That means at what time, what is to be, starting the introduction. You concluded just now after 2 questions are done. So that's not the way. You should conclude before the question answer. You should know what should be the next thing immediately after one topic. So that's how we can make our presentation more effective way. And try to connect to people much, because um, better not to use huge words. Better we use which is suitable for the audience, like with more what to tell, more normal words and all of that, so that people can, because you asked one question before and nobody could answer it because the question was not clear.
Okay,
I
okay.
could understand why they were not answering. You asked some question before that also, like what are the 4 types of people Prabhupada normally says, but they don't know. Prabhupada says so many types of
Yes,
people,
yes,
they could
correct,
not
correct.
understand. So in that way, you can just develop on these things.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, all over everything was fine, from very nice. So you have explained about the characteristics of self-realized person. So yes, I don't know why people keep it unmuted. Yes. Yeah. So you explained about the characteristics of self-realized person. So there are so many characteristics. They are very built up by Krishna that these characteristics are needed.
Yes.
And Krishna himself showed in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But I am a neophyte. I could not go there. I do not have to go there. But still, is it possible for me to reach till there in this one life?
Yes, it is very much possible. If
How is
constantly, if one really practices and gets involved, really, definitely will be. In fact, it is said that even this getting closer to the
who can help us in
learned
that?
people, the sages, the gurus, itself is a sort of gift by the God himself. Otherwise, we would not have come in contact with, say, various devotees or gurujis and teachers. In fact, I would not have read the Bhagavad Gita, okay, and if it has not been gifted by the God. Just because it was gifted, I was able to get
Yes,
some
that was
contact somewhere and we were able to learn something.
that was the initial stage which
That's the very
we
initial stage.
got it. But then who can help us in going to that stage?
Bona fide guru,
Yes,
is
bona fide
bona
guru.
fide spiritual
And how
master.
does it start with? How does it start with? The first step of that self-realization, first step of bhakti.
The very first step is Shraddha.
Shraddha, the
Shraddha,
faith,
faith.
the firm
Then there's
that.
Sadhu Sangha, which really we are doing it now. I am
Mm.
into various classes, and then there's a Sadhu Sangha taking place. And there are some classes going for Bhajan Kriya also. Bhajan Kriya also we are doing it. And just because of my preoccupation and work, I am not able to go to Mandir. Okay? Otherwise, it's okay. Then Anartha Nivritti. Okay?
Yes.
So like that,
So these are
Nishtha,
the stages. But you
these are
said
the
about Sadhu
stages.
Sangha.
Ah,
Sadhu Sangha, can I associate with all the people, all the devotees of all the stages? Who
I
is
could,
that? Like You said about sadhu sangha.
Yes.
So to advance in spiritual life, which kind of a sadhu sangha I should get? Is
That
it?
I cannot decide, na Mataji. It just comes of its own.
There are 3 types of sadhus.
Yes, yes.
What are those?
Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari.
So if I want to advance in Krishna consciousness, with whom I should associate?
I should with Uttama Adhikari.
Yes, with
Spiritual
Uttamadhikari.
master.
Yes, Uttamadhikari or even the Madhyamadhikari can help us to go
Yes.
there, right? He preaches to us.
Yes.
Uttamadhikari gives initiation because he's a spiritual master. Madhyamadhikari. Sometimes what happens, Uttamadhikari comes to the stage of Madhyamadhikari to preach, like Srila Prabhupada. He was a Uttamadhikari, but he came to the place of Madhyamadhikari just to preach. So, in that sense, and the characteristics of self-realized person. It's very nice to hear theoretically, but to practice, it's very difficult, right? Somebody asked that, is it easy to come to that stage, or is it self-developed for a pure devotee? See, there are 3 types of devotees in a sadhana or in a bhakti. There are 3 types of devotees. One is the sadhana siddhas, like us who are doing sadhana, and then we get siddhi. That's Krishna prema. After sadhana, we do siddhi. We get siddhi. There are, what are the other 2? Anybody can tell? What are the other 2? One is sadhana siddha.
Bhava siddhi and prema siddhi.
No. Siddhas. Sadhana siddha, nitya siddha, and kripa siddha. These are 3 siddhas. These are the 3 types of devotees. And nitya siddhas are like Srila Prabhupada and maybe the great acharyas who have come. They are the associates of the Lord, and they're always, they need not do, and especially maybe the even the devotees in Vrindavan, Guru Vrindavan, they are not any siddhas or something. They are like already an associate of the Lord, so they need not go through sadhana bhakti and then get into like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami or Srila Prabhupada or Bhakti Vinod Thakur. They are nitya siddhas. They just made a type of sadhana just to make us aware of it, or else they are already a sadhana siddhas. For them, the characteristics are already included in them, right? Nitya siddhas, the eternal devotees, eternal associates of the Lord, those characteristics, whatever Prabhu has told, what Krishna has told in Bhagavad Gita, already included, right? Like Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and all of these. Why? Because they are manjaris, right? That is already included, all the characteristics. And coming to the sadhana siddhas, we are developing these characteristics we don't have. Right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita again that if you have these characteristics, you are in knowledge, or else you are not. You are in total ignorance. Why does he tell this? Because we should think ourselves. We should introspect ourselves. Are we in that stage? Are we in that stage that we have all this character? He is not telling only 99% of character. He is telling 100% of all these characters. If you have, then you are a devotee. That means we should understand which is the stage of ours. So we are sadhana siddhas. We should introspect and do the sadhana. Whatever Prabhu has told just now, Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, all this comes under the neophyte stage, and it's all comes under the starting stage of our devotional service. Starting stage of our devotional service, and it's under the neophyte stage now. Because what are the characteristics of a neophyte devotee? What are the characteristics of a neophyte devotee?
You will be able to follow the regulatory principles, but you got to keep on poking him there to follow it. And even in case of any discussions, he will not be able to make his counterpart agree with the help of the scriptures.
How what type of a faith he has? The nectar of instruction
He's
is given.
palpitative. It's not very strong in his faith.
Mm, yes. And uh,
If someone says
there's the,
something, there is a possibility he may get carried away.
yes, there's a possibility because he does not have full faith in the Shastras. And that's the characteristic. And he sees the deities, he sees only the Lord in the temples only. For a Uttama Adhikari, he sees the Lord everywhere, right? Pandita Samadarshina, he sees the Lord everywhere. That's the one of the characteristic of a pure devotee. He sees everywhere a Lord, everything in connection to the Lord. Stavara Jangama, both, whichever movable or unmovable, both are for him part and parcel of the Lord. But a neophyte devotee, what does he think? He sees the Lord only in temples. And he does not have a special connection with the devotees there. He only comes to see the Lord. That's the characteristic of a neophyte devotee. Okay, so that's what. When we start, something a big topic, let's start with the small topics and then go to a big topic. What happens? We feel much clarification to people. Suddenly, if we jump to the highest topic, we can't relate to what we are speaking. I think the audience are not already taken up Bhagavad Gita classes. They are new to Bhagavad Gita class. So you should be like, understandable that, oh, these are all neophyte devotees or new, not even a devotee. How can I convince them? Characteristic of a devotional service. Then start with the small things and then go to the higher things. We, even in material world, when we do some things or some activities, there are certain characteristics. Similarly, in spiritual world, because this is a reflection of a spiritual world, even the spiritual journey also has some characteristics of its own. So devotees, starting from neophyte, even madhyamadhikaris, the characteristics differs. And uttamadhikari, again, the characteristics is differing from the neophyte and madhyama. So all these things are to be included when you are presenting about the characteristics. So and these are the things that are to be covered. And yes, neophyte devotees, madhyamadhikaris, and uttamadhikaris. And ultimately, we are speaking about uttamadhikaris because they are pure devotees of the Lord. So, and what about Kripa Siddhas? Anybody knows? What about Kripa Siddhas? I said about Nitya Siddha.
They are to have the mercy of the Lord, and they are immediately elevated to the transcendental platform by the mercy of the Lord. It is very
Mercy of
difficult.
Guru and yes, it's a causeless mercy. Now, what is causeless mercy means? Anybody knows? If you want to speak, then unmute. If you don't want to speak, then don't unmute. Yes. What about these causeless mercy? What do you mean by causeless mercy? Anybody?
Mataji, God is giving every, like, the person is having everything, and he is a self-realized person who is using his energy or his life in God, in devotional service.
Yeah.
So,
I'm asking about causeless mercy. Mercy. When I say I got causeless mercy, what does that mean?
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I answer? Try Mataji.
Yes.
Causeless mercy means like unlimited mercy. Like where he does not see whether who is the. He only sees that whether the person has having unalloyed faith in him or what. Just like a father or a parents love their children no matter what. So, but God is also like is also showers like causeless mercy. That is according to
So
me.
if I go near the Lord and tell, please give me mercy, he should give me, no, causeless
No,
mercy.
no, we have to work for it. We have to work for it, like in following the devotional practice. Like slowly, we would start showing little bit of service, then chanting, and by following the four regulative. But we should win his trust first. And when God sees that we have won his trust, then he gives us his mercy, showers his mercy.
Then how it becomes costless mercy? There is a cost.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, like for Arjuna, Shri Krishna became the charioteer. That was causeless mercy by the Lord towards his devotee Arjuna. I can
He was
explain
a
it.
pure devotee.
Where everybody, causeless mercy is only in the case when the devotee is functioning only for doing everything, manasa, vacha, karma, everything is as per Krishna's wish or desire or pleasing him and his senses.
Yes. So you are telling that only only when we do services only for Krishna, then he gives us the costless mercy. Like
It
that.
is like 100% always, even I would say that breathing also, and the whole existence of the devotee is
What is
entirely.
that word called as? That I'm searching for that one word. One word. How we should serve Krishna. That's mercy. Guru Kripa means mercy. I'm searching for that one word. How should we serve Krishna? What should be there in our mind when we are serving Krishna to get costless mercy? How do we serve Krishna?
That we are his Nitya Das, that kind of.
Mataji, doing seva with without any expectation and offering every fruit to the Lord, God gives us causeless mercy. Like offering every actions, fruits to the God and doing everything for God. Like for example, like Sant Eknath Maharaj or Tukaram Maharaj, like that. They were so much engrossed in the name of God that they forget everything, and they got a very causeless mercy of Lord Panduranga, like that, Mataji.
So what is that thing? They forgot everything. For what? What was that thing? I'm searching for that one word. It was the sincerity of theirs. We should be
Yes.
sincere to Krishna. That gives us costless mercy. For example, now there's a small child, and in front of him there's a big showroom of iPhone. Okay, now he has grown to a 14 years or 13 years of age, and he desires to get a iPhone. But does he have money? No. And that showroom does not mean a small showroom, it's a huge showroom in front of his home. So he is liking to have an iPhone with him, but he doesn't have money. But he doesn't realize how much is the cost, so he just goes to that shop and tells that person, shopkeeper, can you please give me an iPhone? Very small. He's like, what iPhone? And he just shows him out from outside. He was like, see, this is iPhone and it cost 1 lakh rupee. So boy was like shocked. I don't have that much money. So I can't buy it. Okay. And that person, that child goes back and he searches for his piggy bank, small piggy bank which we have. He searches for that and he gets how much ever, colored. So many coins were there, huge, and he breaks that and he gets so much coin and he gives that to a shopkeeper. And he was like, is this enough for that iPhone? And shopkeeper laughs. How is it enough? It costs 1 lakh and you have only even 1% of 1 lakh. So you can't give me that much. I want more. Go get more money. So he went and he asked again another 2-3 coolers he had, and big notes, 500 ka note he broke and he gave it to shopkeeper. And he was like, even this is not enough. It's 1 lakh rupees. You come again. You go, you get some money for 1 lakh and then I'll give you the iPhone. And he goes. The shopkeeper watches this everything, that he can't afford for a iPhone, right? A child cannot afford for an iPhone, but he has the desire. So much desire that 1 year, 2 years, he's behind that iPhone. I want that. And ultimately, he asks his father, whatever father could give, a small amount. He can't tell, no, his father, I want iPhone. The father also does not have so much money. So he could give only 500 or 1,000 rupees, and he just goes and, gives it to the iPhone shopkeeper. It's like, even this is not enough, my dear child. You need to get more. And he's like, I'll never get iPhone in my life. I'll never get. And he goes with sadness. While he was going out, the shopkeeper calls him and he is like, take, this is from me. This iPhone is from me, because I was seeing you from so many days, so many years, that you wanted this iPhone. So I'm giving you this iPhone for free. I'll afford. In spite of you, I'll give the money to the company. I'll give. So that was the costless mercy of the shopkeeper to the child, because he has the sincere desire to get an iPhone. So if we have the sincere desire to get a Krishna in our life, is our sadhana sufficient to get Krishna? I'm chanting. Is it sufficient?
No, Mataji.
Okay, I'm taking prasad, Krishna prasad only. Is it sufficient? Whatever
No.
I am doing, just think. Don't think in collective way. You individually think, what kind of chanting I am doing. With that kind of chanting, is Krishna pleased by me? No. What kind of sadhana I am doing? What kind of reading of Prabhupada book I am doing? In that reading, is Prabhupada or Krishna pleased? No. Then at that time, when you sincerely desire Krishna, I'm not able to do anything. I'm not able to do chanting. I'm not able to do, I'm trying, but I'm not getting that taste. I'm not getting Krishna prema. I can't do that. And you sincerely cry in front of Krishna, then Guru's costless mercy comes to us. What kind of austerities we had done to come into Krishna consciousness? What kind of austerities? I think so, nothing. We did nothing to come into ISKCON. We did nothing to do. But Prabhupada himself came to America. He himself gave us Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam to us. He himself came out. He could have easily been sitting in Vrindavan and doing so many activities. But he came out for what? Costless mercy. Because we were crying for Krishna. But then now, as we are getting to chant and doing all these things, but still it is not sufficient. That's when we understand I need a guru. Until you understand that whatever I am doing, it's not sufficient to get Krishna. No sufficient fund of bhakti is in my account to get Krishna. Then we need a loan from a bona fide spiritual master. And that's when we understand the importance of initiation. That's when we understand the importance of initiation, that I don't have enough money to purchase Krishna. Only Guru has Krishna, right? That's what. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Latta Beach. Then we understand the importance of Guru. So we don't have characteristics of a pure devotee, but then when we are under a bona fide spiritual master who already has all these characteristics, he inbuilds us in that. He gives that characteristics to us in the form of either sadhana, either kripa, causeless mercy, or either by what you tell, either by initiation. That's another form of, he gives us Krishna from his heart to us. So now we understood, right, what is the meaning of costless mercy. I don't have sufficient fund to get Krishna. So without cause, was there any cause for that shopkeeper to give that iPhone to the child? Was there any cause? The cause was only one. That was his sincerity. Was he his uncle's child? No. Was he his own child? No. Right? Similarly, we are not very special to a guru or very special to Krishna. We are like normal jiva. But because we were sincere, Krishna helps us. And that's when the Krishna becomes a Chaitya Guru, and he starts giving us in the mercy in the form of Diksha or Shiksha Guru. Right? Now I hope you understood what's the meaning of costless mercy. Right? Now, don't tell that there is no cause when there is, some people say, what is causeless mercy? The mercy without any cause is causeless mercy. There is a cause. What is that cause? Which cause it is? What is the cause to get causeless mercy?
Kripa.
Yes, what is that?
Surrender.
Sincerity.
Kripa, surrender.
Surrender. Complete surrender.
Sincerity.
Pure
Sincerity. Don't change the word. It's sincerity. It's not surrender or unalloyed devotion. It's sincerity. Okay. That's why Prabhupada gave that. I'm not telling by my own way. It's Prabhupada who told that. So we should not change what Prabhupada has told. Prabhupada told it's sincerity. So it should be a sincerity. Okay. That's the importance of repeating Guru's words. Now you got it? When we change, see, now today you changed. It's for sincerity, suddenly you change to surrender. Tomorrow some other person comes. He's like, it's nothing. It's not a surrender. It was just sadhana. Then he'll change. So changing something, it can be a minute change, and tomorrow it can be a drastic change. So we should not try to change anything. Whatever Prabhupada has told, put as it is. Whatever Prabhupada has told, put as it is. You can make it in your own words, but then the wordings, whatever Prabhupada has given, it should be proper. Okay. Yes. Yes. Any questions or anything to suggest or anything to comment? Or else we can, I have
Mataji,
another class.
Mataji, could you give your email ID so that whenever my PPT is complete, I can send it there?
Yeah, you just ping me in WhatsApp, Mataji. Or else I'll put it here
Okay.
in chat box.
Mother,
You can
I
copy paste.
have a question. Maybe it sounds very silly to you, but what is austerity in devotional service? Like, I can't understand this term in devotional.
Austerity in devotional service is concentrating on japa. Eating only Krishna prasadam. Hearing every day to Bhagavatam class, that's austerity. That's austerity. See, many of them, they think in Satyuga there was austerity. In Satyuga there was tapasya. Kaliyuga there is no tapasya. But that day, Sunday class, there was a guest lecture and he told that even in Kaliyuga there is tapasya. What is that tapasya? Concentrating on each name of Krishna is tapasya. So austerity, today you had maybe imagine you had cooking service, after that you had cleaning service, after that you had online service, after that you had so many services, and morning you have to you and then you have to chant also in the morning. So much services there, so much service. I can't tell, there's no austerity to do those services. There is austerity of a body, austerity of a mind, austerity of a soul. All these three are important to do in devotional service. What are the austerities of body? Krishna gives in 18th chapter. What are the austerities of a body? Or just put in your own words. What are the austerities of a body? Think. You don't do any austerities?
Yes, one should keep a body clean. In fact, the city of nine gates got to be treated in such a way that it is able to house the soul and the super soul comfortably.
Yes, very good. So this is the words of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that we should do austerities of a body, cleanliness, and then you should only have. Now, cleanliness includes eating only prasadam, not bhoga. That also includes in cleanliness.
Maybe simplicity also and non-violence.
Yes, these
And then
all
we should
are.
also function our seniors like Supreme Lord and spiritual master, our father and mother also, who are in that category, senior superiors.
So all these are the austerities of body. Now, what about the austerities of mind?
Mataji, to constantly think of the Lord Krishna, to always always sing kirtan, do japa, to always listen to Prabhupada's lectures or any other Vaishnava lectures, and doing all small services, so that mind is always engaged in Krishna consciousness.
These are the austerities of mind, especially during the japa time. It's so much austerity, so much. We don't even know. Suddenly we are doing japa, there is one notification and our hand goes here. All austerities are broken. You are in a japa yagna. It is said that in middle of yagna you should not get up. So normally most of the ISKCON devotees in temple, if you see, until they complete all 16 hours, they won't get up because it's a yagna. So that's austerity, right? You're doing so much austerity for whom you're doing. It's for Krishna. So austerity in Bhakti Yoga means all these things are included within. Is that fine, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. So don't get afraid. These all austerities are there till we reach to Krishna. And after reaching Krishna, the austerities are changed to please Krishna. Now we are struggling. But after that, one day when we really understand importance of Krishna consciousness, now we don't know the importance of Krishna consciousness. Honestly, to tell, we don't have any gratitude towards Krishna right now. But as we develop that gratitude, one day it will come. It's not easy. We may feel gratitude, sometimes, oh Krishna, you have done so much things. But reality, that 24 hours thinking of Krishna, it's not easy. It's Ananya Bhakti. It's not easy. So till that, we'll have sadhana, we'll do all these austerities to get Krishna. Okay.
Mataji, I have a
Hare
question,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji,
quickly. 4 minutes.
Mataji, like so you have said that doing cooking prasadam is also like a service. Like when you think of making so if like someone paints a picture of Radha Krishna, if someone constantly painting or a string of like embroidering dresses or making some stitches of Radha Krishna or the dancing is that is also considered to be in Krishna service, right, Mataji?
Yes. But see that we are not doing for our pleasure. We are doing for Krishna's pleasure.
Yes, for Krishna's pleasure. Like you're painting a picture of Radha Krishna, or you're doing stitching for Radha Krishna's dresses, or you're dancing in front of Radha Krishna. You're doing Radha Krishna's dance, and that is also considered to be in service of Radha Krishna. No, Mataji, that is what I was
Yes.
asking.
Intention should be for Krishna. Then you think. Because most of them they do, but then intention is different. So let's see what we should see, introspect ourselves. Am I doing it for whom we are doing it for? So when we introspect, we get to know what is the answer. So all of that, we are doing so many activities, but to whom we are doing, right? We are doing so many now. So many teachers are teaching. There's some people, even not in ISKCON Bangalore, maybe some other places, they are teaching. Some in YouTube, we can see so many people, they dance, they dress so nicely and do, but they are just to attract people. Honestly to tell, some people are there, they dress so nicely in Vrindavan Kusum Sarovar, they dance like anything, but it is just to attract people, just to attract. There's no intention to please Krishna. So what we are doing, we should do first. Service is always chanting. If you are sincerely chanting, all services come to a fall at place. It falls at place what we are doing in temple. There are so many people doing so many services, nice paintings they are also doing in temple. But you have seen ISKCON Vrindavan backside curtains, so beautifully painted, all the sceneries of Vrindavan and everything. It is for Krishna. You have small Laddu Gopal or Krishna in your home, decorate him or start doing some sceneries or background nice things. It's for Krishna. So all these things, the intention should be to please Krishna. If we are not, it's very, very difficult to understand this. As we advance, we come to know we just have to see our past and we just laugh. What I have done in the past, it's all sense gratification in the name of Krishna consciousness. So we should not be in that mood. So start introspecting, start reading Prabhupada books. Everything will be cleared at once. So everything takes time. Try to understand in your thing. again and again ask, if Krishna was there at this moment, he was seeing me, what would be his reactions? Honest reactions, not made up reactions. So please try to understand this. Okay. Yes. So we can end. Manasvi, what is
I
it?
have one question. The more you
can
come
put-
in, the more you come in Krishna consciousness, is it the more problems you face in life? Like the more one becomes a pure devotee, is it the more tribulation you are tested more and more?
It depends upon how you take up those problems, as a frustration or as a blessing. So only both. Because Kunti Maharani says, give me more problems, but I can't ask that same, or else I'll be in ditch. I can't ask like Kunti Maharani, give me more problems. I can't ask like that. Whatever, see, one is your karma. Don't think Krishna is testing us. Krishna's test comes to a pure devotee. We are not yet pure devotee. That we should clarify ourselves. So we are just neophyte devotees. Most of our karmas are coming back, but because we are doing chanting and doing service to Krishna, our what you said, karma are becoming very less and it's coming to us. So even that makes us feel frustrated and doing that. Then we are not
Mataji, you are not audible.
Yes, Mataji, you are not audible.
She has muted herself. Probably some phone call would have come.
তুমি জানো মাম্মা মাম্মা তুমি জানো মাম্মা আমি ঘুমিয়ে পড়েছিলাম
नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining the class. Hare Krishna.
Hare